Hello and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a remarkable idea from Malcolm Gladwell's groundbreaking book, The Tipping Point. We will explore how epidemics, whether diseases, behaviors, or ideas, can explode not because of massive sweeping changes, but because of small, subtle shifts in environment. This is what Gladwell calls the power of context. Stay with me for the next few minutes as we uncover what maps cold winters, crime, group psychology, and tragic events like the murder of Kitty Genovese all teach us about human behavior and why the tiniest details can change everything. This is the eighth video of the series on the book of Tipping Point. If you have not watched the previous videos, you can find them on my channel in the playlist by the name of the Tipping Point. So let's start in Baltimore. There, a physician named John Zenilman tracks every cause of syphilis and gonorrhea by placing stars on digital map of the city. Each star represents a patient. What he ends up with is a kind of medical crime map where clusters of disease light up specific neighborhoods. The stars are thickest in East and West Baltimore, two areas riddled with poverty and social challenges. From those two neighborhoods, the cases stretch out like veins along the central roads that connect them to the rest of the city. In the summer, those stars multiply. People are out more, interacting socially, attending parties, hanging out on street corners. The disease spreads more easily. But in winter, when it's cold and people stay indoors, the stars fade. The disease slows down. This shows us something powerful. Epidemics are not just about germs, they are about conditions. Something as ordinary as cold weather can drastically reduce the number of people infected with syphilis in a city. This, Gladwell argues, is the power of context. The idea that behavior is powerfully shaped by the surrounding environment. Let me tell you a tragic story. The Kitty Genovese case, a famous case of a girl who murdered in the New York City in 1964. Now let's switch from Baltimore to New York City. In 1964, a young woman named Kitty Genovese was stabbed to death outside her apartment in Queens. Her attacker came at her three different times over the span of half an hour. Shockingly, 38 of her neighbors saw or heard the attack from their windows, and yet no one called the police in time to save her life. This story shook America. It became a symbol of urban apathy. People said things like, "This is what happens when millions live together." We become cold, disconnected. The assumption was that city life turns us indifferent and emotionally detached. But two psychologists, Bibb Latany and John Darley, decided to investigate this deeper, and what they found turned the story on its head. What these two psychologists found is called the bystander effect. Bystander effect. Latane and Darley ran a series of clever experiments. In one, they staged an emergency. A person in another room pretended to have a seizure. Here is what they found. When a single person believed they were the only witness, they helped 85% of the time. But when they thought four others also heard the seizure, the help rate dropped to just 31%. In another experiment, smoke was pumped into a room. If someone was alone, they reported the smoke 75% of the time. But when in a group, they reported it only 38% of the time. What's going on here? This is known as the bystander effect. The idea that the more people there are, the less likely anyone is to take action. Responsibility is spread out and people assume someone else will step up. So in Kitty Genovese's case, no one called, not despite the crowd, but because of it. If only one or two people had seen the attack, she might have survived. Now the question arises why environment matters. This challenges everything we assume about human behavior. We like to think people act based on values, personality, or principles. But again and again, research shows that the situation matters more than we think. A simple factor like how many people are around can flip a person from being a hero to being passive. A cold night in Baltimore can slow an epidemic. A crowd in New York can silence help. Even the design of a street or the cleanliness of a subway station can affect crime rates. As Gladwell explains in other parts of the tipping point, this is the power of context. Now the question arises here what it means for us. Why I am telling this to you and why you are listening this. So what does this mean for you and me? It means that if we want to change people's behavior, if we want to stop a disease, if we want to reduce crime, if we want to encourage kindness, or if we want to spread a message, we can't ignore the environment. We need to ask what tiny factors in the surroundings might be shaping choices. Is the problem really about motivation or is it about pressure, setting, and social dynamics? Maybe we don't need to fix people. Maybe we just need to fix the context. In schools, that could mean smaller class sizes. In neighborhoods, it might mean more lighting or clean spaces. In emergencies, it could mean knowing that you are the one who must act, not assuming someone else will. So, what is the takeaway of this video? Gladwell's power of context is a powerful reminder. that the world does not change in giant leaps. It shifts because of the smallest details. Whether it's a cold winter, whether it's a crowded room, whether it is a single street corner, little things can tip everything. So, next time you see something wrong, don't look around to see who is acting. Be the one to act. Sometimes one person is all it takes to start an epidemic of kindness, of change, or of hope. Thanks for watching. If you found this thought provoking, please consider subscribing and let me know in the comments. Has a small environmental factor ever influenced your behavior in a big way? Until next time, stay aware and never underestimate the power of context.